for the Mexican 500 event, which is happening in a week's time. And I'm on a Beta R350, sorry, 300, two-stroke that's been specially prepped for Dallas from Traction E-Rag magazine. And he's very graciously decided to let me ride it. And I'm hot on the heels of Chris, who is Special Operations Manager for Traction E-Rag, Dark Ops or something, I don't know, I think he's in charge of bloody wet affairs or something, taking out opposition dirt bike magazine staff members or anybody who rides better than they do. So I'll make sure I stay behind him. So the course is based around all this farmland. Here and there we poke out, and then it's back in, back out again. And there's some fairly technical stuff in here. And at the moment, there's a lot of clay, very, very slippery. These ups and downs are actually very bloody up and down. You definitely want momentum coming out. So one of the amazing things is Chris has only been dirt riding for 3 years, and I'm surprised how well he's doing. Usually guys at the 3-year mark aren't doing the technical stuff yet. Technical stuff like this. And he said he hasn't had any training, but he's just throwing himself at it. And always good to see when guys are riding like that, just giving it a go. But of course we're hoping, woo-hoo! Yeah, so they've got a few tricky little things lined up for us here. A lot of wet logs and oblique logs, and it's all good fun. Of course, I'm just trying to do it all feet up and stick with the cross-training credo of take it nice and slow, ride it technically, keep good balance. Oh, it's only an accident if the handlebars touch. See, they've got these wet logs just up the corners and all designed to just make things tricky. So she's a great course, not what you call extreme enduro, but definitely technical while it's wet like this. Whoop. And one thing I've been doing is riding in a high gear and slipping the clutch a lot for traction. The dreaded log pit. Not a lot of fun. log pits like that, I think, is you just want to keep a bit of momentum. Just sit and paddle if you're not comfortable. But low revs, keep your momentum. Avoid the excessive wheel spin that displaces logs on you. Nicely done. And pretty similar with these rubber tyres. Just keep momentum. Whoa, feet up. Wasn't expecting that. I've never really done tyres, but I think it's the same principle. Momentum, don't get into crazy wheel spin. So that's a truck jump there, which I'm not doing. With so many coaching sessions coming up, I'm just avoiding anything tricky. So we've got a very tight section here. Definitely keeps everyone on full lock. Yeah, just the beater's full lock's pretty good, but still can't get it. So a lot of those U-turn techniques we did can be handy here. You can either slide your rear wheel in to tighten the radius of your corner, or pivot it on your leg like this. And they're downhill too, which makes it harder to pivot the bike on your leg. Steep little drop off there. Try and ride this straight across. Slippery logs. Is he off? No. This is what I mean, for 3 years on a bike, he's doing well. Yay! Yeah, so this course is good for a lot of the technical skills we've been covering the past 3 years. The traction, all the log hopping, the pivot turns, cornering. Oh, this thing's slippery. Got to be careful here. This is all clay. So normally you'd use a lot of front brake, but too much front brake here, and she'll just go slide out on the wet tree roots at an angle. Don't want any power applied while you're on those, or these wet logs. Now I know this hill coming up, it's ultra slippery, so you need a bit of momentum out of here. Got up at that time, but man, she's slippery. I was in second gear for that, just to keep the traction. Similar here. Lots of wet tree roots. Slipping in second. Keep traction. Off camber here. You can see Chris slipped out the little tree roots. Keen to slip you across, so a bit luckier on the double R beta. Bit of speed. Wet tree roots again. Very steep descent. Whoa! Shit, there's a wet tree root there too. Oh god. Sorry guys, I'm not used to riding this wet stuff, so I'm expecting to go arse over tit any moment. Just slipping everywhere. Feet down everywhere. See European riders in these conditions and they are so fucking fast in mud. They're going everywhere, but they just seem to know when it's going to slip and in which direction, and don't bother slowing down. Chris has pulled ahead a bit. It's pretty fast when it opens up. Tough hill coming up. This is hard enough in the dry. It's going to be hard in the wet. How's he gone? Woo! Yeah, baby!
Not bad, eh?
Good run! Chris had a fair bit of trouble on that on his first run, but something tells me he's a fast learner. Third gear was probably a bit too high for that hill, but it gives you a lot of traction if you're slipping the clutch. More clay descents. Shit. Just feel the front wheel locking up. Trying to stay feet up. Yeah, he's pretty quick. Oh, Chris. Off camber log. So you've got to de-weight the bike enough as the rear wheel comes over off camber log so it doesn't slide downhill. I was fairly lucky with that one. Power off when the rear wheel hit those wet logs. Some interesting lines there by Chris. Now a bit of easier stuff. Beautiful scenery. Last year it was very sunny, so when I was filming in here it looked pretty shitty. All the shadows. This is magic. And the motocross track. I'm overshooting turns. I'm crap at this fast riding. Woo! Back into the forest. Whoa! It's not too wet here now. I think it's just drying out a bit. I was slipping everywhere on the very first lap. Four descents. Most of this is actually just based around one gully, one little creek down the bottom. So the course makers have done an awesome job of building this track. Just trying to catch Chris again. He certainly opens up a good lead when the track opens up a bit. Fuck! That's still slippery. I wonder if he's done a bit of motocross.
The Mennonites are a Christian sect that have spread around the globe due to centuries of persecution. One group migrated from Mexico and are living in southwestern Ontario and simply known as the Mexicans. And this event is their brainchild.
Oh, very tight.
These Mennonite dirt bikers are a bunch of rednecks, making do with what they have. They build tracks on fields that are too steep to plant, and trails and gullies that are too sheer for cows to cross. Often they just follow the deer trails. Clear the brush, leave the logs as their policy. Ultimately, this course represents a bunch of Mexican Mennonites doing what they love. We have seen a lot of good riding areas shut down recently, some for good reason, some not.
Back onto the motocross track. I demonstrate my inability to use berms.
The Mexican 500 is their way of saying, hell yeah, we're a bunch of Mexicans, we want to ride our dirt bikes, and you can't stop us. The Mexican 500 is tough, technical, and fun. It's man versus gully out there. And as one of last year's riders commented,
You know, I fully intended to ride the Mexican, but ultimately, I think the Mexican rode me.